Cool. I think we are live now. Um, I'm not sure if everybody will be joining on the dot. Um, I'll maybe just wait a minute or so just to let everybody get logged in. Because obviously I can't see the participants myself. So um, just a couple of things on your screen. So you'll see we've got a chat function, we've got a questions function on there. So please do make use of those if you've got any questions throughout the webinar. But yeah, just to give a very quick introduction. Well, before I do that, actually, thank you very much for taking time out your day to come along and listen to us talk about what FDM Group has to offer in terms of graduate roles. So I'm Jack. I work in the FDM office in Glasgow. I've been with the company for just under a year. Part of my job is taking applicants through the process, preparing them for interviews, that kind of thing, and also coming out to various universities on campus, doing careers fairs, employability workshops, that kind of thing as well. And I'll pass over to Joe to introduce himself.
Hi, afternoon everyone. I'm Joe. I'm involved in the graduate recruitment here at FDM as well, and also with the university partnerships. I've not been here as long as Jack. I've only been here for about 6 months now, but thoroughly enjoy it. Kind of loved every minute of it since I've come in. Kind of general recruitment, as well as kind of doing careers fairs and things like that with all universities. So yeah, really happy to be here, and thanks everybody for joining. So first of all, just to again overview what we're going to cover today. So first of all, we've got what we do here at FDM. So what does FDM do? The opportunities we can provide with our graduate programme that we have, the clients that you can be working with and whereabouts you'll be working with them throughout the whole of the UK. All the support and the engagement that we can have all the way throughout the process, throughout the recruitment process, the training that you do, as well as the client placement as well. You always have that kind of touch point of support from FDM, even if you're kind of out on site with clients. And as well, we'll talk to you about the selection process. So we've been all the way through the recruitment process, which me and Jack are kind of heavily involved in, and kind of giving you kind of hints and tips for kind of every stage in the process that we have.
So it's probably obvious by now, there'll be lots and lots of information coming your way. So don't feel like you have to take it all in, take lots of notes, because as I said, there will be time for questions at the end, and Joe and I will provide our details as well if you want to get in touch with us on LinkedIn, that kind of thing, just ask questions in a more sort of informal setting. So we've got a video that we'll play now just very quickly. Cool, so if we could just go back to the presentation. Perfect. So, well, what does FDM do? FDM, in the kind of general sense, we are a consultancy. We recruit recent graduates. That's the biggest part of our business. But you can see there we've also got ex-forces and returners to work. So it's not just all about graduates. We've also got a program for individuals who've come from a military background and they want to get a head start on their civilian career. And we've also got Returners to Work program, and that's for anybody who's taken any kind of career break. They've perhaps had managerial roles before and they want to get back into it. The next part of the kind of process in terms of our business is the training. So you'll get between 6 and 14 weeks of award-winning industry standard training in one of our UK locations. So in the UK, we're in Leeds, we're in London, and we're in Glasgow. However, at the moment, all of our training is happening remotely. So you'll be invited to various events that we have in the offices, but it wouldn't be till after the training that you're really expected to be on site with clients. And that 6 to 14 weeks is really just dependent on what kind of role you come through. And a little bit later on in the slides, we'll go through what those individual roles look like. We deploy also, so that's the next important part of the process. So we've got over 140 clients in the UK. Again, there'll be more information about that further on in the presentation. But basically, you'll be doing client-facing work from sort of day one after the training. So, you're not just writing essays about work. You're not just, doing things theoretically. You're actually getting hands-on work on real-life projects that impact a lot of people. And then you're probably looking at graduate roles because you're keen on career progression. You're keen on also what comes after that. So beyond the 2 years, there's lots of things that can happen. A lot of people go freelance at the end, offering their services on a freelance basis. A lot of people stick with FDM. They just really like how the placements work and want to stick around. We would transition you then into a more senior role, looking after your own team, maybe branching out into something else. The other option is to go permanent with one of the clients you've been working with. A lot of the time, our clients quite like to make offers and reach out to consultants when they find out they're coming to the end of their tenure on the program. I should say, though, that although it is just initially for the 2 years on the program, the contract is offered on a permanent basis. So the contract doesn't end when the graduate program ends, and it's likely you'd be transitioned to something a bit more senior, before that 2 years is up.
So in terms of our training that we have a tech industry gold standard accreditation for our training. That allows you to have the kind of best possible start to your career with our graduate program that we have. So you would go through around kind of 6 to 14 weeks of training, depending on which role that you choose. So our business courses that we have are around about 6 to 8 weeks, with our technical roles around kind of 9 to 14 weeks, just slightly longer for them. So we offer the kind of highest standard of technical training to make sure that you're kind of ready to go into a full-time role within the placement. So as it says in here, we've got a tech industry gold employer, so offering that kind of high standard for the training. You always be in touch with our training supervisors that we have throughout the training. They can always give you that support that you need to make sure you're kind of successful as possible while you're in that training.
Just to add to that, some of you may have attended in the past or currently be attending a university that's engaged with tech skills and tech UK. So you might already recognize this tech industry gold accreditation. So just for those of you who don't, basically it's a governing body, and they accredit different university courses that are related to technology in some way. So FDM is currently the only graduate employer in the UK, I think, that is accredited by that company. So pretty much all of our different training courses are accredited. So, you're not just taking FDM's word for it. Future employers are not just taking FDM's word for it that the training's really good and that you've been trained to a really high standard. You've got that credential, you've got that qualification there that you get to carry with you throughout your career. So we've got some of our more technical roles here, and I could spend the whole day going through what all of these are, but I just want to give you a kind of general overview, because I think sometimes when you're on your graduate job search, you're scouting out your options, you'll see a lot of these things, but what do they actually look like day to day? So there's 7 of these roles. The good thing is they're all interlinked, they're all related, they all sit on what's known as the software development life cycle. So if you've done computer science or any sort of degree that involves coding, programming, or technology, you might already know about that. But for those of you who don't, basically the software development lifecycle is the sort of cycle of how you take an issue or a problem, and then you've got all these different people doing different roles on this cycle, taking that problem all the way through to production, testing, looking after it when people are using it, to actually being a fully fledged specific fix or something to help a company achieve its goals. So it could be something really, really simple, like there's a button on someone's website that doesn't work, but that can still have to involve a lot of different people. Or it could be something a lot more complicated, a lot more time and resource consuming, like business is really big and requires its own internal, sort of social media community-based website. It could be something like that. But this should become quite clear once I've explained all of these roles to you. So with software developer, that one's pretty much as it says on the tin. You can expect to be writing code day to day. Most of the day, that is primarily what your job will be. So a lot of people really want to do that, and that's all they want to do. That's the best kind of role for that kind of person. If that's maybe not what you're as keen for, but you still want to do a bit of programming, you might be more interested in software test analyst. Programming is part of that. But in addition, there is also a sort of business analysis part. You're having to go to the client, understand their requirements, understand what a bit of software is supposed to do and how it's supposed to do it safely so that you can ensure it doesn't cause any risk to anyone. Think about when, probably everybody in here will have used a banking app at some point. What happens when you send your friend money for dinner last night and you walk under a bridge and you lose your signal? What happens to that money? Does it still get to where it needs to be? I mean, that's just one very silly, very small example, but there's obviously thousands of these instances that can occur. So once the software developers have created a bit of software, the software testers have to come in, make sure it all works, make sure everything functions as proper as it's supposed to, and mitigates any risk within that. There's a really interesting, almost sort of psychology part to that role as well, though, because you have to be able to preempt and think about how people might or might not interact with a bit of technology as intended. So that's basically, two parts of that cycle already. With robotic process automation, that can kind of sit above both of those roles. All about automation, all about taking specific processes and automating them, basically, as it is said in the title. With our robotic process automation developers, they use low code or no code systems. So it's a very accessible tech role for anybody who doesn't necessarily have specific or indeed any programming experience. And it can be, like it has been for a lot of people, a way into more kind of programming heavy positions. Cloud computing is a really interesting one. So it can involve quite a number of things. I'm assuming everybody will probably be familiar with what the cloud is, just in general. It's freeing up companies to do a lot of really interesting things. They're able to offload data, they're able to offload entire applications. Sometimes organizations have just a specific data set that's really big, but they don't have space on their own servers to host it. They're going to put that on a cloud service. It could be something a lot more complicated. It could be an entire automated workflow that perhaps a robotic process automation consultant has created, but they want that to happen off premises. They want it to happen in the cloud, basically. And there's all sorts of cybersecurity issues with that, accessing data, coming back and forward between the site and between the cloud service. We've got our business intelligence data analyst. So this one is very data heavy. Deals a lot with a coding language called SQL, which is a very accessible sort of plain language coding language to use, which is really sort of an industry standard in terms of interrogating data and helping bring together lots of data to bring reports really, really quickly, especially when you've got a lot of different types of data that you're trying to bring together. Perhaps a client has a new product or a new a new feature on their app. They want to understand how people interact with it. So they would need some business intelligence data analysts to get that data all together and to be able to produce it in interactive dashboards so that the people without the technical knowledge can understand how that's working at a glance. Similar to that, we do have data engineering, which is not listed here. It's a relatively new one for us at FDM. So it's basically software development, but with a more kind of data focus. You'll basically be doing bespoke programs for specific purposes that clients sort of need that data for. The only one I've not mentioned is Salesforce developer. So just very quickly, you may have heard of Salesforce, you may not have. It's not. It doesn't matter if you have or you haven't. It's basically software development within the Salesforce platform. So Salesforce is essentially a client relationship manager, which you might think sounds kind of boring, but it's not. It can do lots of weird and wonderful things. It helps businesses keep track of who buys from them, who their clients are, what interactions they have, which if you're a small business, maybe you've only got sort of 5 to 10 people, maybe it's a little startup, you can see that there's maybe less of a need to have all that information, able to access it all in one kind of central place if it's a small team. But say, FDM Group, for example, we use Salesforce. We've got over 5,500 employees worldwide. So it is important that we do have that sort of centralized kind of data and it's accessible and people can draw reports from it and things like that. So it's basically creating code, creating applications on the Salesforce platform. And if you're interested in that, I recommend Googling Salesforce. There's lots of really informational videos on their website. Technical operations as well. So going back to that software development lifecycle, technical operations sort of exists at the end of that cycle. So if you have done computer science or if you've worked with code at all, you might be familiar with the term the live environment. So that's basically just where programs exist for you to interact with. So for example, Facebook, if you access that website, you're accessing code that exists in the live environment. It's live, you can go and you can post a status, you can add a friend, you can add pictures, whatever. So the thing is with code, things break, machines get updated, especially if it's a website like Facebook, it will be pulling data from all sorts of different things, advertisements and things like that. So it's very prone to breaking, essentially. So you have technical operations consultants who are there to make sure that things are always up and running. They make sure everything's updated and maintained as much as possible. And they could be responsible as well for disaster recovery. We've got people working with banking clients, for example. So you're sort of in there, in amongst the action when banking apps go down, that kind of thing. So moving on to some of the business that Joel's going to talk about.
Yeah, so in terms of our business roles, if the kind of technical pathway isn't really for you, you feel as if you want to go in the business kind of side, we've got 3 business roles available. So we've got project management, business analysis, and risk regulation and compliance. So most of the time with our roles and our training, project management and business analysis kind of come together as the kind of general business course, and then risk regulation and compliance is kind of standalone really. In terms of project management, some of the roles that you might do is been involved in the planning, monitoring and reporting on tasks, kind of ensuring that they're all done in line with the project and the company's objectives. For business analysis, we're kind of looking at analysing and documenting requirements from the business users and recommending solutions so that the client can reach their end goal if they're working on a project. And then for risk regulation and compliance, really assisting organisations in detailed and specific data, making sure it's in line with internal processes and governance, as well as regulating requirements as well. So that's another kind of pathway you can maybe choose to go down if you're kind of not as kind of tech savvy really. You can choose to go into the business pathway that we have.
What I would like to point out though at this point is just that don't feel like you're making a massive commitment that you will be stuck in one of these roles forever. That's absolutely not the case. So I just want to refer to that software development lifecycle again, now that we've gone through the business roles as well. So going back to the previous slide, we've got the software developers, the software testers who are dealing with all that kind of building and design work. Then you've got your technical operations consultants who deal with that bit of software when it exists for people to use and to interact with, to access, and so on. Project managers and business analysts are necessary, absolutely necessary to that cycle. So business analysts are involved right at the very start, gathering requirements, doing an investigation into the business problem. It's not always a problem. Sometimes it's just more of a goal or a target that a client wants to meet. So the business analyst is there to put forward solutions. They'll work closely with that project management team, and they will be a sort of communicator between the client and also between the people involved in this technical side of things. It's not to say that all of these roles are not technical on the business side. You are still dealing with technology teams, and it's been the case in the past, where we've had people come through one of the more business focused roles. They've seen what the software developers or what the testers have been up to, and wanted to get involved with it. And we can offer that training a little bit further down the line if you do find yourself in a position where you want to kind of pivot a little bit. And remember, this is just for the first 2 years. There'll be options to sort of branch out into different things a little bit later on. Cool. So we've got our clients here. There's, I believe we're looking at a PDF of a presentation. So I should have thought about this beforehand. So apologies that looks that you can't make out all of those clients there because it is an animation. I should have thought about that. But I can just mention some of them to you now. So we're all over the UK. We are in Scotland, we're in the north of England, Midlands, London, Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland, Wales, literally everywhere, to be honest. We've got over 140 clients in the UK. And basically, we're in more or less every kind of industry that you can think of. A lot of our clients are in banking and finance. You can see some, for example, like Morgan Stanley, HSBC, Lloyds Banking Group, for example. We've also got about 20% of our clients are public sector, so HMRC, Department for Work and Pensions, Home Office, HM Land Registry. Working on really exciting things. NHS Digital as well. We had lots of people working on test and trace and COVID related projects. So, really kind of hands-on and current and topical work as well, which is nice. Also media clients like Virgin, Sky, Channel 4, other companies in healthcare as well, like AXA, for example. Energy companies, so National Grid, Shell, BP, E.ON, and so on. We're over 140, so I won't stay here and name them all. Be here all day. A couple of new ones for us as well include people like Chanel. So it's always increasing, and we're always sort of branching out into new and interesting areas.
So in terms of the kind of support and engagement that FDM provides throughout your placement that you would go on, there's constant kind of touch points all the way across that placement. Even throughout the recruitment process that you would go on with one of the recruiters that we have, we'll always give you that kind of feedback and information about the next stage, each stage in the process. But once you go into that placement, as Jack said at the start, it will be for a period of 2 years. So it could be 2 years with the one client, or it could be 2 years with a variety of different clients. But again, you will always have that kind of support from FDM in the background. And as you're kind of working your way through that placement, constantly improving and upskilling yourself and gaining that experience, your salary will also increase to reflect that. So we've got our consultant experience team that are there to provide that continued support at FDM while you're on the placement. And as well, at the end of the placement, you've got the opportunities. You can choose to either come back and stay with us at FDM. You can then transition full time to one of the clients if you choose to do so, or you can do your own thing. You can pursue a freelance career. just as a kind of picture shows here. Kind of as you kind of go along within your 3 months, you'll have a kind of virtual in-touch session with someone from our consultant experience team, asking you how you're getting on. If there's any kind of worries that you have or any questions that you have, you can always ask them. After about 6 months, kind of settling in to whatever placement that you're on with one of our clients, always kind of growing and thriving, and then kind of aspiring further on into that 18-month kind of spell, kind of looking into the future. What can you do out with the programme? We'll also obviously provide you with that training and the experience throughout the placement, but you can have continued kind of experience as you become maybe a senior consultant when you stay on with us at FDM after the 2 years.
Something maybe just worth hammering home, especially about this this slide, is you are supported from day one. You're not just on site with a client on your own with no help. It's not like that at all. So we have got these more kind of formal touch points because we want to make sure that we're checking in, that you've got what you need, you're healthy, you're happy, and that you're making the most of the program. But we also have, as Joe mentioned, that consultant experience team, and they're there for you if you need anything, literally anything, whether it's more training. Maybe you're finding that the work's a little bit hard. Maybe you need some more guidance. We can provide that, or maybe it's just more personal issues that you have in your own life that you need some sort of HR related support with. We always want to make sure that you are supported, and because at the end of the day, we want you to have a good experience on the program. It's absolutely within our interest to do that because we want you to stay on at the end of the 2 years. It's definitely a more preferable outcome for us if you decide to stay on. So we want to make sure that we give you a reason to do that, essentially. Then we've got our staff networks as well. These kind of came about during the pandemic, and they've been relaunched more recently. And we just realized we needed, a way for our employees to connect globally. We've got people in different locations worldwide that have a lot in common, and we want to make sure that FDM is a welcoming place, it's an inclusive place, and that we do put a lot of effort into celebrating people's uniqueness, people's different kind of attributes that they want to share. So we put on events that relate to all of these different networks. We've got different sort of digital communities as well, so you can meet like-minded people, which is always useful. And it kind of ranges from people who've just came into the business all the way through to high-level executives. So there might be someone, for example, who has dyslexia, and they're kind of struggling with sort of transitioning to full-time work, first kind of graduate role. We can put you in touch with someone in the with the unique network, for example, who's dealt with that throughout their career, and who can offer some guidance with that. That's always really, really useful, and it's all very informal, which is quite nice. It's not like you have to sit down and have an interview with anyone. It's there really to increase your network and expand your network as well. So just to give you an overview of them, we've got our LGBTQ plus network. Recently we had our Pride events, for example. We have our Elevate network, empowering and celebrating FDMers of all genders. Recently, we had a campaign out to start our first ever female-focused software development program, so that will be starting next month. We've got our care network. I think it's always really good for people who've had caring responsibilities, who can come and sort of share their load with people, and talk to people who understand their their experiences. I think that can be really affirming. I explained a bit about our unique network already, for anybody with visible and also non-visible disabilities. And our lead network representing FDM's Black, Asian, minority ethnic community. We've got over 95 nationalities working within FDM across all of our locations. So we are very diverse, and we do think it's really important that that's celebrated, and that we give employees a place to to engage with each other on that level. Our faith network as well, finally, connecting with others at FDM who have faith or similar beliefs. So we're planning we had our Diwali launch. We have some other events coming up with that network as well. And it's also just nice to be able to connect with people who are like-minded, who perhaps come from a similar background as you. And yeah.
So in terms of the kind of FDM selection or kind of recruitment process that we have, there's a couple of different stages. So in terms of the recruitment process, we've got 4 stages, but there's obviously 6 up here. So first of all, it would be going online to make your application. It's easy enough to go onto the website and apply to kind of either of our pathways, so our business or our technical pathway. You can do that, and then one of our recruiters will be in contact with you. As Jack mentioned as well at the start, we have our kind of graduate programme. We also get returners to work in our ex-forces programme. So kind of variety of different programmes that we have, all kind of going into the kind of same types of training and placements that we have with our clients. So the first stage, kind of simple enough. We've got a telephone call, so a telephone interview you would go through. So it's about a kind of quick 20 to 25-minute chat with one of the recruiters over the phone. Not any kind of tech heavy or business heavy questions, will just be some general questions about your application, how you got on during your time at university, if it's for the graduate programme, what leads to apply to FDM, that kind of thing. The second stage would be a vid interview, so a pre-recorded vid interview with about 5 questions. So we use strength-based questioning. So we have a couple of questions, 5 questions. You would record yourself giving the answer, and then once it gets sent back to one of the recruiters, they can get that marked up and then give you a call with a bit of feedback and then information about the next stage, which would be our online tests. So we've got 2 online tests that we do. It would be kind of Arctic Shores test that you would do, so it's kind of online games, and the second part would be an IT aptitude test, which would be about 30 questions that you would do. Again, just on a computer, it's all done. And then finally, it would be the last stage of success in online tests. It would be final stage interviews. So kind of all morning event. You'd go through like a mock interview with your recruiter. They would kind of help give you hints and tips and kind of useful kind of practice questions to give you the best kind of support and possible chance at passing these interviews. So what it will be is you start off at 9 o'clock. You would go through a kind of business introduction from someone from FDM, and then it would be 3 different interviews you would go through with 3 different interviewers. So they're only short, they're not too long, about kind of 10, 15 minutes or so, about 6 questions each. So it's again very similar kind of types of questions to the vid interview. You would do the strength-based questions again, and speaking about which role that you're going for, which one you're mainly interested in, what one you want to pursue throughout the graduate programme. And then on success in that, the best of all, kind of getting your career offer and getting your offer for which role you want to get started on. So we recruit all year round. We've got kind of rolling start dates, and we get new start dates that come out every quarter. So we're currently going into quarter 4, which was from about November through to January. We've kind of loads of different dates throughout there. And it's a case of if you pass on one of these streams, we can get you placed on one of these trainings, and then you can make a start on the training and then go into the placement, which we've discussed kind of throughout the kind of call as well.
Yeah, summed it up perfectly. Thanks, Joe. Just want to add to that as well. Joe mentioned that we have start dates all kind of throughout the year. I'm conscious there's probably a mix of people attending today. So for those of you who are still studying, we can take through your application already. You can head to our website, you can apply on there, you can register your interest. And for those of you who have already graduated, you're already finished, you can come through right away. And how long the recruitment process lasts for is really kind of down to you, how quickly you want to schedule in your telephone call, how quickly you want to get your video interview completed by, how quickly you do your online tests, and then how keen you are to come to the final stage interview. So people do it in a week. I wouldn't recommend trying to do it any quicker than that, because you obviously want to give yourself a chance to prepare, and you probably have other responsibilities as well. But it is kind of down to you. There's no kind of fixed specific date when things have to be done by or done on. There's no kind of deadline. So we kind of shot through that a little bit quicker than I thought we would, but that's not an issue at all because I think we do have quite a few questions in there. We've got the presentation up, so we can go back to any slides that we want to, if there's any specific questions around any of them. But yeah, Joe and I, we're more than happy to get through any questions that we've got there. So I might as well just start from the top. So someone has graduated Bachelor's of Science in, I'm assuming that's CS is computer science, 5 years of work experience in software development, and they're interested in software development graduate program. First question is this a paid program? Yes, absolutely. So the training will be paid at £20,000 pro rata. That increases to 25,000 as soon as you finish the training and start on client work. 26,000 if that's in London. By the last couple of months on the program, you'll be on 30,000. So there's a few equally spaced out increments, but it increases by 10k within that 2-year period. So there's another part to that question, I think. So would you be able to skip part of the program and start working as a senior? So in order to qualify for different placements on the program, you would still have to come through the training, just the same as the other graduates. But there may be more kind of senior roles that are open to you a little bit earlier on. You might find that. What's next? And Joe, do you want to take Rashid's question?
Yeah, so thanks for your question, Rashid. So you did a master's in computing for data science at UK University. Do you have a data science pathway that you'd like to go data science pathway, and you'd like to go for cloud computing? Yeah, so you've got your data science pathway, data science degree. Sorry, you can go for any of our streams. You don't require any background. Always the kind of minimum requirement is a 2-2 at bachelor's level with honours. But if it's data you're mainly interested in, like you mentioned, you said cloud computing, data engineering as well could be another one. Jack can explain about them. You can find more about all these roles on the website as well. When you go into the FDM Group homepage, go into careers, and then it drops down our business graduate program and our technical graduate program. So that's got a kind of big description for all the different roles, some of the skills involved with them. So you can have a look into some of the different data roles that we have available, and see which ones you want to go through for as well. Even if you make an application for, say, cloud computing, we like to keep it open anyway. So even if it's the case that you've got kind of multiple interests in different things, you can still get put forward for a couple of different roles. It's not as if we kind of pigeonhole you and kind of pinpoint you down to one role and say that's the only role you can go for. So if it is kind of data you're mainly interested in, we've got a kind of wide variety of different data roles within our technical pathway you can look into.
Definitely, definitely. And question from Sukanya. You've got some basic knowledge of SQL, you've got masters in finance, you've had a career break for almost 10 years. So I would say if you find yourself in that situation, then maybe apply to the returners program in the first instance, because you could be eligible for that. And the roles tend to be a little bit more senior as well than just kind of entry-level graduate program level. If it is the case that you're not eligible for that, you'll still be chatting to one of our returners recruiters. They'll pass your application on to the graduate recruitment team. So don't worry, we won't miss you out, regardless of which one you apply to. The vacancies are on the website as well, just right next to the graduate ones. Armel, what are the tests like? I'm assuming that means the online aptitude test, which I think Joe gave an explanation of already. And Joe, question from Nkonye.
Yeah, so I'd be glad to join the programme at business management level. Recently graduated with an MBA from Birmingham City University. It would be my privilege. Yeah, so we've got the kind of 3 different business roles. So it was kind of project management you'd want to go into, the business side, business analysis, or risk regulation compliance. You can take your pick and see which one interests you the most. But again, as I said in the last question answered, we kind of keep it open. The good thing is with business, if you're into kind of business analysis or project management, we often just have a kind of general business course which covers a bit of both. So you do get that kind of variety of picking up the kind of skills throughout the training for business analysis as well as project management as well. So you can have a look into applying for that.
Question from Chunlock. So, is the business role graduate scheme stopped recently, and can we apply for more than one graduate scheme? So, because we're coming to the end of our summer quarter, our roles kind of wind down and then start up again in November. So you'll find our vacancies re-advertised come November. They'll be refreshed. You can register your interest on the website as well if you'd like an invitation to apply to those roles once they become available. You can apply for as many of the graduate roles as you like. I should mention though, it doesn't matter which one you apply to. You're assessed for all of the roles throughout. When it comes to the final stage interview, you can actually pass for more than one stream. We have had people who've come through and actually passed for everything. Then it is just up to you as the individual what you actually want to get started on. And then we can have a kind of informal chat just about the roles in a bit more detail so you can make sure you're making the right decision for you. Because it's your career at the end of the day, so we want to make sure that you're making a decision that makes sense for your own progression. Question from Arslan. So in terms of Manchester, we don't have an FDM office there, but we do have quite a lot of clients there. Manchester and Leeds are where almost all of our clients in the north of England are. We've got a couple in Blackpool, some in Sheffield, and one or two in Newcastle. But the vast majority are in Manchester or Leeds. So if you pick the North region to be placed in, then the likelihood is going to be one of those locations. In terms of sponsorship as well, so we're not able to offer sponsorship on the UK graduate program, but we do have roles on the graduate program in China, in Hong Kong, in Australia, Singapore, North America, so Canada and the USA, also on mainland Europe. We can offer sponsorship for our internal roles. And again, they're advertised on the website, so definitely check out the internal roles if you are looking for sponsorship. We do have a license for that. And we can take people through that process.
Yeah, and for Maria, for the next question, I want to know if you take on master's students for the graduate schemes. Yeah, so we'll take kind of students from bachelor's level as well as masters as well. So yeah, you're kind of more than able to apply. As I said, it's with a kind of minimum entry requirement of a 2-2 at bachelor's level with honours. Obviously, if you've got that already and you've got your masters, that's completely fine. Feel free to apply.
Next, we've got Armel again. So, are there roles for robotics, bachelor's, graduates, and what would these entail? So, maybe just to clear that one up with robotic process automation, it's software robots. So it's all about programming software robots inside computers. So not robots with sort of arms and legs, or when you see not like RoboCop basically, but more kind of automating kind of work processes, that kind of thing. Good example of that actually is whenever you call your bank or call an electricity provider, you have to go through, press 1 for this, press 2 for this. That's one example of robotic process automation in action, because it's not just something happening on the phone. It's happening on a computer. It can get really complicated because some of them have voice recognition. I know with my bank, for example, I have to say a code or say a password, and there's obviously quite complicated things happening behind the scenes, that someone who has been involved with robotic process automation has had to do to make sure that that system can recognize my voice and what I'm saying. So Arslan again, you've got experience in AWS, Kubernetes, Docker, and Python. So can you go for a cloud computing course? Yep, definitely. I'd say with cloud computing, you would struggle if you would probably struggle a little bit if you've never looked at code ever in your life. If you have even just a basic understanding of any coding language. HTML and CSS are very sort of entry level and easy to understand. Same with SQL, then you'll probably be fine. The placements are quite varied. So some of them are more technical, some of them are more business focused, some of them focus more on the end of the logistics and how to actually get a data set that exists on site servers to cloud servers. Sometimes clients have more complex needs. They have to actually build out an entire platform using code on a cloud server. But definitely, I would apply. And the thing to bear in mind is it's a graduate role. These are entry level graduate positions, so we don't expect you to already have lots and lots of knowledge. That's what the training's for. We're really more interested in you demonstrating your soft skills, so your communication skills, team working, adaptability, flexibility, that kind of thing. I'm conscious that we've got some specific questions in the questions tab, so we'll maybe go to them now, and then we'll get back to the chat questions, if we still have time. So Joe, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, can do. Yeah, so Odinaka, I ran a dropshipping business back home for 5 years, and also both a bachelor's and a master's in civil engineering, and also a CMI certificate. Which program do you think is best for me? Yeah, so obviously, as I said, you can apply to kind of any of our kind of programs that we have. We've got a kind of bachelor's as well as a master's. So it's whatever you kind of think fits best for you. As Jack says, we're kind of looking at your kind of soft skills throughout the training. Will kind of provide you with the kind of skills necessary for each role. So it's about kind of you and what you think would be best for you. Um, in terms of civil engineering, not really sure kind of what role might be best for you. Um, but you can obviously have a look and have a look at all the different roles on the website. Like I said, if you go into the kind of homepage, down into careers and in the business or the technical graduate program, something maybe in the technical pathway might seem kind of down your street. So you can have a look into that. Um, Zena, another question. Hi, applied for the graduate scheme in the student fair at university. So shall I wait to receive an email link, some kind of application or form to fill out for further process? Um, if you already applied, if it's this year that you graduate, so 2023, the applications will go live from about November time or so about a week or so, and you can kind of make your application whatever you feel kind of suits you best, and then you can kind of have enough time to go through the process. But if you've graduated already, we're kind of more than happy to apply kind of whenever you want, and apply just now if you'd like. Um, Jihan, another question. I'll be finishing my masters in September 2023, so I can apply again. Similar Jihan, so the applications will open just around about kind of November time. So if you keep an eye on the website when the kind of jobs go live for the 2023 graduates, then you can apply through there, and one of our recruiters will be in contact. Just once your application goes live. We've got
Question from Anna Maria. So, am I right in saying the graduate training and roles are located in the UK? I'm from Cork, just finished my master's in data science. So we do actually have an Irish program. So if you are interested in staying in Ireland to do your training and to work, then you can filter by region on our website. Our Irish roles are on there. But I mean, there's no reason to say that you couldn't join our UK program. Anyway, and I mean, the training is online for the first part anyway, so that does give you a bit of flexibility in terms of if you were relocating for your role. Question from Laura wants to ask if there's a hybrid working scheme or it's all in the office. So currently our training is all completely remote. You would be asked to come in every sort of once a month just for a check-in day. We do kind of team building, free food and drinks and that kind of thing. And it's more kind of just to get to know people who you're training with, get to know the trainers as well, and get you out the house, which is good. In terms of work with clients afterwards, it really just depends with regards to that specific project that you're working on. Some do require a little bit more face-to-face time. Some do require you to be on site for things for security reasons. A lot of our consultants do work under non-disclosure agreements just because they're working on unreleased bits of software. So the majority of our consultants are currently either 2 or 3 days on site with the client, and the rest they can work from home. Some are in as little as once a fortnight. A lot are in not at all. They're completely work from home. And there's really only one client at the moment who's completely fully in the office. Question from Uche. You've gotten feedback on your application, but you're yet to get a follow-up. You'd also like to know if there is sponsorship available for international students. So in terms of sponsorship, I'll just go over that again. So we can't offer sponsorship, unfortunately, for the graduate program, and that's because it's client-facing work. So the Home Office essentially counts the client in that instance as a third party, and then they just wouldn't allow it. But that's not the case with our internal roles, so we can definitely sponsor for our roles outside of the graduate program. We have a lot of entry-level roles there as well. So there might be something in there for you, even if you don't already have a lot of experience. And Samuel, well, you'll be glad to know we actually do have roles in South Africa. Again, you can check those out on the website, filter by region, filter by location, always looking for people to start in South Africa. Do we have a training course in Manchester? I think we answered that one. Have I got to the end of them? Question from Alex: Are all the roles UK/Ireland based, or is there any chance roles may be based in another country? So specifically, all the roles for the UK program are, of course, based in the UK and in Ireland. In terms of if based in another country, so just go back to those different locations I said, Singapore, Hong Kong, Shanghai, Australia, USA, Canada, and so on, and mainland Europe as well. We do have placements there, but we've got specific programs for those placements. However, if you come to us and you say you're really interested, you're really keen to do a placement abroad, we can look into that and try and make that happen for you as well. Jihan, can you apply for the Canada Graduate Program scheme? You're from the UK, as we can't provide sponsorship in the UK. If you already have the right to work in Canada, then yep, absolutely. And then just one from Emmanuel: would software development role entail supporting or creating applications for financial markets with any banks or institutions? So yeah, some of our clients, as I mentioned, are in banking and finance. So Morgan Stanley, Deutsche Bank, who else? HSBC, quite a lot of different banks that we're involved with. And one last one from Sukanya. Are all the training online, or do we have to visit personally? Are these flexible? So yeah, all that training is going to be online, but we can't always guarantee who you're going to be placed with, what specific projects will be available once you finish the training. So we can't always guarantee that it is going to be fully remote or hybrid or fully in the office. So you have to be kind of prepared for that. Joe, do you want to go back to the chat and then pick up where we?
Yeah. Let's see what we got to.
I think we start at Elena's message.
There's a few here. I don't know if you got through them. So I've got one from Alex that I've seen. So are all roles UK and Ireland based, or is there any chance for a role to be based in other countries? If so, which countries? Like Jack mentioned as well, we have got our UK graduate programme, we've got the Irish graduate programme as well. We've also got Hong Kong, Singapore, North America, Germany. We've got kind of throughout the kind of globe really. So I've got all the kind of different countries that we have our programs in on our website.
Questionnaire from Abrar: is it mandatory to work for FDM for 2 years after the training? So yeah, we would ask you to commit to us for that amount of time, because we are providing you with that training and paying you during that period. However, you can leave. We obviously don't want you to. We want to keep you. But you're not tied into anything there.
And one from Hattis: said that right. Hi, Jack and Joe. I'm leaving the education industry and interested in the graduate programme as I'm completely new to tech. I'm taking classes and a few skills to have some basic knowledge. Would my application still be considered, even though I've graduated a few years ago from a very different sector? Yep, absolutely. So we don't require that kind of background in any specific degree or discipline. That's kind of why we've got the training aspect of it. It's also good that you've been kind of taking classes to kind of build up your kind of tech skills as well, and got that basic knowledge. It just kind of helps you out so you're not learning things from scratch throughout the training. So yeah, absolutely. Fire away, and you can apply to the technical program if you'd like. So that's fine.
Question from Elena. How would you suggest someone start preparing for aptitude tests? Great question. So this might sound fairly simple, but just Google practice aptitude tests. There's lots and lots of different resources online, different websites that offer preparation tests. And whether you're applying to FDM or you're applying to another company, just make sure you've got enough information about what kind of aptitude tests they are. We do provide you with practice tests anyway, but it's always worth asking your recruiter for some tips. But just practice them. It's the only real way to kind of prepare. Don't worry about getting the practice ones wrong. Just get ones that try filling ones out that give you feedback, lets you know your score and so on, because a lot of them really are very similar. So chances are, if you've done some practices already, the questions will be fairly similar, and not kind of throw you off in the moment because they are timed, which is something to bear in mind.
We'll go on from Mansaf. Hi, Mansaf from Newcastle University, currently pursuing your MSc in Automation and Control. You do not have experience in this automation field, but you are learning MATLAB, PLC and Creo. I'm eligible to join your company, and you've also got 6 years of work experience in HR payroll. Yeah, so again, if you've got that kind of degree, once you've graduated, you're kind of ready to go through the recruitment process. You're more than happy to apply to kind of one of our technical roles. Thinking to a bit on kind of MATLAB and some of our different roles. So yeah, kind of more than eligible to apply. You can make an application if it's this year that you're graduating. Again, November the 2023 graduate applications go live, so you can apply from then.
Question from Arslan, what's the best time for you to apply? I would say any time from now on, if you're graduating in January, you can either register your interest or apply to one of the roles that are already open. One of our recruiters will be in touch as soon as possible. Our RPA developers, mostly business focused? I would say so, yes. There are kind of more programming heavy roles within that stream that do exist, but they are more rare than others. Most of the platforms that are used that are kind of industry standard are either low code or no code, meaning they're very accessible for people who don't know how to program, but do offer a good kind of bridge into that. So I realize there are a few questions left, but I'm conscious that we're bumping up against the clock here. So what I'll maybe just do at this point, just in case you haven't seen it already, if you type in Jack Gibson FDM to into LinkedIn, feel free to connect with me on there. Joe, just do the same as well. You can send any questions our way if you didn't get them answered. I can't believe we've been answering questions for half an hour, actually. It's really flown in. But I just want to take this opportunity to really thank everyone for their time today. Whether you apply to FDM or you apply elsewhere, best of luck with your applications. Please do reach out to us. You can attach CVs as well to LinkedIn messages. So feel free to send that on there, and someone in our team will get back in touch with you. But it's been a pleasure chatting to you all. And as I said, please do reach out if you had any burning questions that we didn't quite get round to answering.
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining. Thanks for your questions as well.